Now we're going to be learning how you can actually combine lead generation and social media management. Now, as a new social media manager, there are two most critical skills that you actually need. Whether you're a virtual assistant, freelancer, growth marketer, anything that you are, as long as you're in the marketing industry, right? But for social media managers, two most critical skills. Now, the first skill is finding high quality clients. That is the first, or let me say, most important skill that you need as a social media manager in 2026. Yes, even though social media management is about creating content and posting content online, in 2026, a lot of organizations actually require social media managers to not just post and create content for them, but to be able to get clients for them. And that's just the reality of social media management. If you can see on my screen, you can see the two most important skills are finding high quality clients for your clients and keeping a brand credible online. So you're not just finding clients, but you're, of course, getting engagements, likes, and things like that for the content that you create on social media. So those two skills are very, very important. If you are just starting out as a social media manager, you have to understand that your job is not limited to just creating and posting content online. Let me say in 2026, social media management has now been expanded to actually finding leads. Leads are also clients. Leads is another way to say clients, right? So social media management has expanded to not just creating content but finding clients for your clients, or even finding clients for yourself if you decide to actually freelance as a social media manager. Now, before I move proper into what is lead generation and how you can get leads, I'm first going to explain the big shift in 2026. Why as a social media manager you need to also have lead generation skills. Now, the industry has changed. Clients demand revenue, not just like, so when clients hire social media managers, they don't just want someone to get them likes, make them viral and things like that. They want someone that can also get clients for them, because if they can't get clients, they don't have money to pay you technically. So you can see now, in the past, organizations hire marketers or sales managers, or they are known as lead generators. Organizations will hire them separately, and then organizations will hire social media managers separately. So which means there's the role of the lead generator, that's the person finding clients, right? And then there's the role of the social media manager, which is just creating content, posting content, and things like that. But in 2026, a lot of organizations, especially startups, cannot afford to hire a lead generator and a social media manager at the same time. So because of that, when they hire social media managers, they expect you to be able to find leads for them, even though actually the job of a social media manager, or let me say the main goal of a social media manager, is not to get leads. But in 2026, that's just a reality you have to accept if you've decided to focus on social media management. And you can see here, as a social media manager, you have to be able to combine the traditional social media management plus lead generation. Lead generation, like I said, is what finding clients for your clients. So as a social media manager, this combined skill set makes you irreplaceable. Now, when you start working for any organization, and they would have this expectation of you that you should help them go viral, they should get a lot of engagement, likes, shares, things like that. But when your client don't see the results that they expect of you, which is perfectly normal, by the way, right? So you start creating content for them, but they are not going viral, right? Maybe they are getting a few likes and a few shares, and it's just not the desired or the expected result of the client. It is very, very easy for them to want to let you go. It's very easy for them to say, you know what, we don't want you to work for us again, because we feel like we are not getting the results that we want, or we feel like we are wasting our money paying, basically, right? So if you're going to work in as a social media manager in this 2026, and you want to actually last in your job, right? You know that you cannot just depend on posting content. You cannot just depend on creating content calendars and creating posts on Canva. No, you need to also have the lead generation skill, right? You need to also be able to convince your client that not only can I create content for you, but I can actually help you get clients, right? And there are different ways to do this, of course, which I'm going to be explaining in the rest of this video. Okay.
So, what is lead generation? Lead generation is the process of identifying, attracting, and initiating contact with potential customers for a business. So, you can see identifying, attracting, and initiating contact. So, the first thing is identifying the lead that you want. So, how do you identify the lead? By knowing the target audience that your clients works for. So let's say your client is a real estate company, then who should be your lead? Your lead are people that are looking to purchase a house, a store, literally a building, land, anything like that. So those are your leads. So you have to, for you to be able to identify your lead, you need to first know your target audience. Then the second thing is attracting your lead. How then do you attract your lead? So we know that we need to identify our leads. Then we know we need to attract our leads. Then the third is initiating contacts with our leads. So you can see here the first thing, we have lead sourcing. So for lead sourcing, you can build a targeted source through LinkedIn, digital directories, and things like that. Then we have prospect research. So when you get the leads, you can get a lot of leads from LinkedIn. For example, if you are working as a social media manager or virtual assistant for a consulting firm, and your the consulting firm actually consults for startups, CEOs, founders. You can go to LinkedIn and search for founders, search for CEOs, search for startups, right? So you're able to get their contact there. So that is lead sourcing. Then the prospect research is now researching the lead. What do you know about the lead? What information do you have about them? Do you have their emails? Do you have their phone number? Do you know the company that they own or that they work for? Who are the people that work with them? That is the prospect research, because sometimes for you to be able to get a lead, you might need to reach out to somebody that is close to them. So you might not even have the direct contact of the lead, but you can have the contact of someone that is close with them that can actually help you to reach out to the lead. So which is why research is very, very important. And the third thing is qualification. Is this lead qualified enough? What do I mean? So you can have a lead, but the lead does not have the budget to purchase the product or the service you are selling. So apart from sourcing the lead, doing the research on the lead, and the third is the qualification, which is finding out if the lead is qualified to actually purchase or get your service. For example, you are working as a consulting firm, right? For as a social media manager for a consulting firm that consults for CEOs and founders. So you source for founders on LinkedIn. You source for them, you do your research on them, and reach out to them, and you find out, oh, they are currently, the company is currently looking for funding, right? So they do not have any money for any service. So the next thing, you decide if this lead is worth it or not. So that is literally what um lead generation is all about. Let's not forget that it's about identifying, attracting, and initiating contact with potential customers. Usually leads are potential customers for your client or for a business. Now, before I go into how to get leads for your clients, I'm going to show you how to get leads for yourself. So, as a social media manager, as a virtual assistant, how do you get leads for yourself, right? Because there's no, if you are talking about searching for leads for clients, you should also know how to get leads for yourself, because that is how you are also able to get leads for your clients. So I'm first going to show you how you can get leads, how you can get jobs on LinkedIn for yourself, right? Then before I show you how to do that for a client as well. So you can see here we have the LinkedIn strategy, which is the 1 hour rule. So I'm first going to show you how you can actually get jobs on the LinkedIn job board, which everybody knows how to do this, but nobody really knows about the 1 hour rule. Okay. Now I'm going to read the 1 hour rule here before I go to LinkedIn. Now the 1 hour rule says apply to jobs posted less than 1 hour ago. And that is because most of the times when you post jobs, when companies, organizations post free jobs on LinkedIn, the free jobs usually close after the first 50 applicants. So if you want to um if you want to increase your chances of getting a job on LinkedIn, you have to be part of the first 50 applicants that is applying for that job, which is why the 1 hour rule is very important. So when you're applying for jobs on LinkedIn, especially if it is a remote job, because remote jobs are quickly filled up compared to on-site roles. So especially if it is a remote job, check the time that the job was posted. If it was posted less than an hour before you saw the job, then your chances of getting that job is very, very high. So we are going to check how can you actually use that. Let me leave this and come back to my browser. Okay, so this is my LinkedIn page. This is my LinkedIn page, and I'm going to show you how the 1 hour rule works. So I'm going to come here to the job section on my LinkedIn. This is the job section on my LinkedIn, right? You can see it here. So I'm going to search for a job. So let's say I'm looking for a social media management job. So let's see social media management job manager. Okay, so LinkedIn will give us job suggestions for social. So you can see these are all social media management jobs. Now, another thing you should know about LinkedIn is that for most LinkedIn jobs are posted on the job boards. Usually, these companies usually want someone that is in their country. Now, there are some jobs that are posted by countries like EU countries, European countries that don't mind other people. But the truth is that they would always prioritize people that are in their country first. So I usually advise that when you're searching for jobs using the LinkedIn job board, this is the LinkedIn job board, just stick to jobs in your own country. Do you understand? Like stick to jobs in Nigeria. And to do that is very simple. Because I usually stick to jobs in my country, you can see that the jobs here are Lagos, Nigeria. So it sticks there. So but for you, if you search for a job and you notice that the jobs are like showing a lot of international countries, you can just add Nigeria in front of this so that LinkedIn will actually give you jobs in Nigeria. Now the next thing is the dates that the job was posted. So you can see dates posted. I'm going to filter it by past 24 hours. Let's not forget the 1 hour rule, right? But but LinkedIn's filter, the list is 24 hours, so you can't filter it by 1 hour. So I'm just going to filter it by past 24 hours. So let's see if any jobs were posted in the last 24 hours. Yeah, so you can see this job, only one job was posted 22 hours ago. Social media manager, you can see that over 100 applicants. This was just in just 22 hours, over 100 applicants. So over 100 applicants means more than 100 applicants. Now for this kind of job, I can assure you that your chances of getting this job is very, very low. So I would say you should not apply for this job. It's as simple as that, because they most likely will not call you because they already have over 100 applicants that have applied for the job. So that is how to use the LinkedIn job board. But the trick is that you should always check the LinkedIn job board every 1 hour. So if you are really desperate, right, always check the LinkedIn. So every 1 hour, because that is how the 1 hour rule works. Every 1 hour, always come and check the LinkedIn job board. Now let's go back to our presentation. Okay, now after you get a job on the LinkedIn job board, you can see which is the after using the 1 hour rule, the next thing is the cold DM strategy. So let's say I actually applied for this job, right? I applied for it. Now the next thing is to check who actually posted this job. So I'm going to scroll down. So this is if I wanted to apply for it, but I'm not applying for it. So let's actually scroll down. So I'm just going to scroll down and see who actually posted the job. So the job was actually posted directly from the company's page. So sometimes the job will be posted, if the job was posted by someone that works for the company, you would see it. You would see it there that the job was posted by. You will see it that the job was posted by someone that works for the company. But as you can see it here, the only profile that is here is the company's profile. As you can see, this is the person that posted it. So it was posted directly from the company's page. So what the next thing we are going to do is we are going to send a DM to the company. So that is if we actually applied, although I do not apply. So you just click, if it was posted by an individual, it is the individual's profile that would be here. So you click on that and you send a message to them to let them know that you applied for a role. You attach your portfolio. If you have a portfolio, can you see, you attach your portfolio and you send them a message. Can you see? Another thing you can also do is, if you send them a message and they don't reply immediately, you can check for people in that company. So you can see, if you come to the people section here, you see people that have added that company on their own profile. Now you can see there that nobody has added this company, so it's most likely a new company. You can see there is zero associated members. So that means our only hope is just sending them a DM directly on their company page. So this is another way to also boost your application. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. Now, the second method is the Boolean search method. Personally, I don't use the LinkedIn job board because that means you need to be very active to check LinkedIn job board every 1 hour to see if somebody has posted a job related to your skill, right? But if you don't want to go through that trouble, just use the LinkedIn Boolean search method. So I'm going to show you how you can also do that as well. Okay, so for you to be able to do that, you have to be on the home page, and yeah, I'm going to use the Boolean search method here. So I'm just going to come here and type, which you can see I've used it here. You can see you open a quote, type hiring, close the quote, and open another quote, social media manager, close the quote, and remote. So in your case, if you are a virtual assistant, you change social media manager to virtual assistant, and then keep it and remote. Okay, now if you want to narrow it further, you can add and Nigeria, right? But if you just leave it at remote, that means it's going to show us every social media job posted from literally every country, so not necessarily just Nigeria. So I'm going to click on this because I've done this several times. Okay, you can see now, you can see so many social media jobs that were literally posted in the last few hours. So I'm going to filter it by post because I only want to post. I don't want jobs on the job board, so I only want posts. So which means people that posted about it. So these people most likely did not post it on the job board. You can see when we checked the job board, only one person posted the social media rule in Nigeria in the past 22 hours, right? But if you check my screen here, you can already see that a lot of people posted social media jobs in the last 24 hours. So next thing I'm going to do is sort by latest. So I want to see latest jobs from, so that's jobs that were literally posted 1 minute ago, 30 seconds ago. So those are latest jobs. So it's going to filter it by the latest social media jobs. So you can see here the latest job is 9 minutes ago. So the last person that posted about the social media job is literally just 9 minutes ago. Now the next thing I'm going to do is filter it by the date posted. So I only want jobs that were posted in the last 24 hours. Now, I already explained this why 24-hour rule is very important. Usually, when you submit applications to HRs, to organizations, the HRs, once the HR will start checking the applications from the first submission to the last submission. So usually from the first submission to the last submission, not from the last submission to the first. So if they're able to get the first few candidates they need from the first set of submissions, then they most likely will not check other submissions. They most likely will ignore it. So you have to be part of the first few submissions, which is why it's always very important to apply to jobs that are posted in the last 24 hours. So which means that at that point the HR is still very active and the HR is checking all the resumes and portfolios and CVs. It is so you can see the last job that was posted here is 9 minutes ago. As you can see it here, you can see it's a LinkedIn specialist role. It's an hybrid role and it's in Lagos. And all you have to do is send them CV and sample of your work too. Can you see? So literally that simple. So if I click this, it's going to take me directly to my email to be able to, can you see, to be able to apply for the job. If it does not, now if you are using your cell phone, if you click this, it will actually take you directly to your email. That is if you are using your cell phone, it will take you directly to your email. Because I'm not using my cell phone, I'm using my laptop. That is why it's not taking me directly to my email. Do you understand? Okay, so let's go through. Okay, you can see another job was posted 14 minutes ago. So if you, from the name of the person that posted it, Ashish, you can tell this is not a Nigerian role. But let's check for it. You can see digital marketing role. They specified here that they're looking for a female. And you can see they said this person said if you're interested, send me your CV portfolio in DM or email us. They didn't put the email there. So you can literally send your CV, just click on this and click on the person's profile and send your CV and your portfolio to them, right? Now you can see if you keep scrolling through, you'll see so many jobs that you can actually apply to. So many jobs that you can apply to. Now the trick is when you're seeing these jobs, try to apply to them as you are seeing them. Don't save it as I'll come back. Apply to them as you are seeing them. Okay. Now, for me, when I apply for social media roles, I'm going to come to my Gmail so that you can see. When I apply for social media roles, I use the same cover letter. So you just go to ChatGPT and create a specific cover letter for yourself. I use the same cover letter. So when you go to ChatGPT, you create a specific cover letter for yourself, and then use that same cover letter. I always use the same cover letter for all my. Always use the same cover letter for all my applications. So this is the last email I sent. You can see. Can you see? This is an email I sent. Okay, I don't know why it is not clear, but this is literally the last email I sent. I don't know why it is not clear. Probably because I used my phone and then I attached. You can see. Let me look for something that is clearer. Okay, but before that, you can see that I did. They responded to my email. You can see they responded to my email. Although I dropped the job, I didn't bother to further the application. But telling you that my cover letter works, but I want to look for another cover letter. That okay. This is a cover letter that I used to apply for a job. So you can see this is what my cover letter looks like. Can you see how detailed it is? So make sure that your cover letter is detailed, and then my portfolio is attached to the cover letter and my resume as well. So this is my resume. So I use the same cover letter. I do not use different cover letters for my um job application. So just stick to it. So it relieves stress. So for me, when I want to apply for jobs, if I were using my phone, I would have this cover letter and just copy it like this. You can see I just copy it like this, copy, right? So I would come to LinkedIn here, click on the email. If I were using my phone, I mostly use my phone, right? I would say I want to open this via Google Chrome, and then it will take me to my email, and I just paste what I copy. So that's usually what I do. So let's go back to the presentation. So I've shown you how to get leads for yourself. Okay. Now, how do you get leads for your clients? Like, let's say you don't want to rely only on LinkedIn for your client, you want to get leads. Now, there are a lot of directories that you can use to get leads for your client, and you can see that these directories are they are written. You can see Google Map, Yelp, Yellow Page. You can see B2B platforms like Apollo, OnTie.io. So these platforms, what they do is that they help you get emails of people. Right? So let's say you have emails of people, you have that you've gotten some leads on LinkedIn, but usually on LinkedIn you might not know their email and their phone number. So you use these tools like Apollo and OnTie.io to get this. And I'm going to show you because I have something like that. Click on escape. So if I show you my LinkedIn, I have an email too. Let me just go to the home page that is attached. That I have an email extension, a lead generation extension that is, linked to my um LinkedIn. This is it. I'm not sure how many of you can see it. This is it. This is it. So if I click on this, can you see I'm able to get emails because this is an extension that I've added, but because I haven't used this for a long time, so it's asking me to sign in. But because it is an extension of my LinkedIn, it is there permanently. You can see it is there permanently. So if I were to, let's say I want to look for I want to get this person's email. This person, let's say I want to get their email. What I do is I click on this, my extension. You can see the name of the extension is Casper. Kaspr. If you are working for any company and you have a work email, you just use it to um log into this account. I have a work email, but I don't want to do it like I said, not to waste our time. So what happens is that if I we already logged into this application, right? I would be able to see the contact of this lady, this Nancy, this lady. I would be able to see her contacts just by looking at my right hand here. You just by looking at this place. So that is another way that I get contacts, right? So when I do is what I do is I create a Google Sheets. I come to Google and I create a Google Sheet, and all the contacts I just keep it there. I save it there, okay, until when I'm in need. Now the other, you can also use Apollo.io. You can search for these platforms and use integrate them, just like how I used this Casper.io as an extension, as a link, as a Chrome extension, which is attached to my LinkedIn. You also go to those apps and use them as extensions, so you're able to get clients. Another thing is just using the Google Maps. Google Maps is very simple. So let's say you are looking for, let's say you are a social media manager and you are looking to work for real estate people, right? So just search for, just go to Google Maps. Okay, so we just need to click on this. So let's say, okay, let's use restaurants. Okay, so can you see restaurant? So if you were to get this client, what you just have to do is click on the links, right? Click on it, and now let's say I want, because I'm using my VPN, because I'm using my VPN. So when I search for restaurants, you can see that I'm seeing restaurants in the US, right? Because I'm using my VPN. But if I'm not using my VPN, it will show me restaurants in Nigeria, right? So so you can see that since I was using my VPN, I don't want to rely on my VPN. So I manually searched for restaurants in Lagos, in Nigeria, Lagos, you can see, and just filter filter them. Okay. Another thing is you can just look for Nigeria. Just look for Nigeria here. If you can look for Nigeria here, look for Nigeria. Look for um look for Nigeria. Sorry, I can't find Nigeria here for some reason. But anyway, so I click on this. This is a restaurant in Nigeria. You can see I click on it. I click on it and I look for their information. So that is another way that you can get digital directories. You can get leads from digital directories. So now now prospect qualification. Not every lead is a good lead. Before reaching out, research the company, decision maker, look for trigger events, recent funding, new product launches, or active hiring that signals immediate need. So the first thing you check the fit. Do they match the ideal customer profile that you're looking for? The customer profile of your clients, right? So is it the right industry? Is it, check the industry? So let's say your client um only um does consulting for a particular industry. That means the leads you are looking for should be leads that work in that industry, right? You can see the next thing is pain point. So you have to, in the process of doing your research, you check. For example, if you want to work as a social media manager, right? And I check on LinkedIn, and I want to check if the client has a LinkedIn page. Let me go back to LinkedIn. I want to check if the client has a LinkedIn page. So let's see if this person has maybe a company that she works, that she owns, right? So you can see experience. So she doesn't own a company. So what I'm going to do, let's say I'm looking for founders in the UK. So you can see founders, right? So these are founders. You can just filter it by location, Nigeria. So, but I don't want to start wasting time. So let's say I want to know if this person needs a social media manager. What I just do is I come here, you can see is the CEO and founder of this organization. So I check the organization's page. Now, have they posted anything recently? You can see. I come here, post, check. So you can see that these people have not, the last thing they posted was 10 months ago. So I can literally message this person. This is the co-founder, right? So if I know, I can message both the founder and the co-founder, send them a message and tell them that I noticed that they don't post on LinkedIn and I would like to manage their social media account, or I would like to manage their LinkedIn account. So I send a message. I connect with these people and I send a message to them. Now, if you are connected to a lead generation, um, if you are using a lead generation software extension, right? Let's say I was signed in, I would actually see the email of this person. So I can also send them an email personally, and that's how you get it. So let's go back to our presentation. Okay, so let me use a slideshow. So now let's move to the part two of this. The part two of this present con. Let's move to the part two of this presentation, which is the content creation and copywriting. So you can see once leads discover a brand, they check the social media to access credibility, great visuals, need compelling copy that address human psychology. So these are the types of content that you can create for your client. You can see educational content, which are tips, tutorials, industry hacks, promotional content, which are client testimonials, case study result, and we have behind the scenes, which are company culture, meet the team, build trust. You can see, so those are these are the types of contents. But if you go to ChatGPT, this is something that ChatGPT can come up with for you. So to use the graphics to create design graphics, just use Canva and use CapCut for um to design your videos. Okay, now there's something I want to mention. When you are creating your when you are creating your content, there is something called using hooks. Hooks are very, very important. In fact, hooks makes your content more interesting. And you can see an example here. This is a content without hook. You can see we offer social media management services for startups, very passive, very predictable, right? But you can see this is a content with hook. You can see 90% of startups fail within the first year. So if I was a startup owner and I saw this, I would immediately be interested in the content itself, like even without reading the entire content. So it's important that you have use hooks, right? And then I'm going to be sharing a list of eye converting hooks at the end of this session, right? But aside from that, another thing you can do is let's go to ChatGPT. Another thing you can do is just ask ChatGPT to give you a list of hooks. So it's very simple. You come to your browser, you search for ChatGPT, right? So when you do that, you can there are so many types of hooks. There are negative hooks, controversial hooks. There are so many types of hooks, and you use that hook, to create content for your client. I want to show you how you can do that. The difference between using hooks and not using hooks, because it makes the content much more interesting, and a lot of people don't realize that. Also, it doesn't make your content really look like it was written by AI. So, which is another reason why hooks are actually very, very important. So okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask ChatGPT to create a simple content calendar for me without hook. Then I'm going to ask it to create another content calendar with for me with hooks, and then you would actually see the difference, so you will understand what I'm trying to say. Right. So let me ask ChatGPT that create a 10 days, just trying to create something, create a 10 days content calendar for me. So for a real estate company. So let's say ChatGPT will create something for us, right? So you can see the content, you can see the topics. These are just ordinary hooks. You can see what does your dream home look like. You don't need to be rich to own a home. So these are simple hooks, right? So let's say I want to use something, like I said, there are different types of hooks. So I can just ask ChatGPT, give me 10 types of hooks. Give me 10 types of hooks. Okay, so ChatGPT will give me different types of hooks, and you can see question hook, shock hook, curiosity hooks, number hooks. Can you see different type of hooks, right? So I can say, I can say use you can see comparison hook. I like this comparison hook. So I can say using a comparison rewrite the content calendar using a comparison hook, and it will do that for me right now. So can you see ChatGPT rewriting the content calendar for me? Okay. So can you see these hooks now? Let's say this comparison. You can see um renting pays your landlord, buying pays your future. Can you see how this hook is better than the first hooks that we created? You can see, would you rather build slowly or move immediately? A beautiful house in a bad area or a simple. So these are hooks that are stronger than the first set of hooks that ChatGPT gave us. Do you understand? So the hooks are very, very important when you are creating your content. So you can see what usually happens when you use hooks is that people are more interested, people are more intrigued when you are using hooks than when you are not using hooks. That is why hooks are very, very important. Okay. Now the next thing we have strategic engagement and computer hijacking. We have strategic engagement and computer hijacking. Right. So strategic engagement is basically how do you engage with people on social media. So let's say you post the content on social media. Let's say you post the content on social media. Nonsense. Okay, so we have strategic engagement and computer hijacking. So strategic engagement is how do you engage with competitors? How do you engage? How do you get people to also check out your content on um, social media? Now, apart from responding to DMs and comments on your own page, right? You have to also check the comment section of your competitors. So it is also called the competitor hijack, right? So this can be done in three steps. The first thing is what you find competitors' posts, target high engagement posts in your niche. You study the commenters. You can see there are people that usually comment and contents that have like a lot of posts, and then you manually you manually comment and engage with the competitors' commenters. Let me put it that way. So let's go to Instagram to see how that is done. So I'm going to come here and come to Instagram here. Right. So I want to show you how you can easily engage. So this is an Instagram page, right? Now I'm going to look for a content that has a lot of, it could be any content. So let's say this is you can see that this content has 6.1k comments, right? So I'm going to click on the comments. Okay. So I'm going to come to the comment here. You can see the comment here, right? And let's say this person made a comment. Um, so let's say this is, we are just going to pretend this is our competitor's page, right? So let's say this is our competitor's page, and we are going to check the comments on that competitor's page. So this is the first comment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this person's page to see their content, as you can see, and then I'm going to scroll down. So this will be easier if you're using your phone. Of course, this is not phone. This is my laptop, right? So I'll click on this, like their content. You can say like their content, like three contents, then um comment on like two of their contents. Do you understand? So I'm going to do that repeatedly. Usually if I'm doing that for any post, I'll do that until for literally all the commenters under that post. I do that literally for all the commenters, but of course there are a lot of comment under this post. You can see 6.1k. So let's say I'll do that for like 100 people, right? And then look for another competitor's post. Scroll down for another competitor's post. Just scroll down, and then when I scroll down again, pick a post I like. You can see, make sure that it is your competitor's post. Pick it, click on the comment, look through it, comment on their own comments. So that is usually how a lot of people don't know that that is actually how you should engage with people on social media. Okay. Now the next thing we have scheduling tools and community management. So scheduling tools, we have scheduling tools like Buffer, Hootsuite, Later, Metrical. But usually I don't really use scheduling tools because when you use scheduling tools, you might not be able to pick songs in advance when you're posting on Instagram. So I don't really use, but of course, depending on your clients, right, you can use scheduling tools for your clients, right? Then we have track metrics to monitor engagement. Usually, all social media platforms have their own way of monitoring engagement, so there's no need for you to use a special tool for this. And then the last is the daily engagement. Daily engagement is what I explained earlier. Daily engagement is what I explained earlier, which is you go look for a competitor's post that has a lot of comments, right? You go to their commenters one by one, you check the commenters page one by one, like their content, drop a comment, do that for like 100 people in a day, and that is how you do engagement, right? So the key, the session key takeaways are speed win. So you can see apply within 1 hour on LinkedIn, which I explained earlier. Quality first. So when you're getting leads, it's not just about how many leads you can get, but how many quality leads you can get. Hooks, very, very important when you're creating content. And the last is engage outbound using using the computer hijacking method to daily engage. So I hope we have learned something today. Thank you very much.
Okay, now that we've come to the end of the teaching, I'm just going to share a little bit of bonus that I think um, would be useful for everyone who actually wants to really stay in social media management, right? So for the bonus, if you can see my screen now, if you are going to work as a social media manager, one thing is that you have to be very active on social media. Even as a social media manager, we've spoken about how you can get remote jobs, how you can help your clients to get leads, how you can get leads for yourself, things like that. But let me say the basis of it all is how can you get your client to trust you, right? Which is the part where you have to be very active on social media, because when you're applying for jobs, one of the things that the clients will ask or request for, apart from your portfolio, is what social media platforms have you managed, or what, let me see your social media platform, like let me see your social media page. That's a question that a lot of clients would ask, right? So let's say you are trying to get leads from LinkedIn, right, or from Instagram, and the client looks through your LinkedIn page and the page is literally empty, looks through your Instagram page, you post maybe once or twice a month, it's literally empty, there's nothing there, you are already short of getting clients for yourself or for yourself. So you need to be online, you need to prove yourself to potential customers that you can manage their page, and the only way you can do that is for you to be actively online, right? So have your own social media pages as well, where you are posting actively, creating content actively. And the easiest type of content to create if you are just starting out and you don't even know what to create is educational content. Just go to ChatGPT, Gemini, ask Gemini to create a content calendar based on educational content. Basically, just teach social media management, how to get clients on social media, things like that. Those are educational contents that you can create carousels, single posts, and videos, and post it on your page. Right. So I'm going to explain the 3 seconds rule. 3 second rule here. You can see now when somebody comes to your page must answer 3 questions. The first is, what do you when I come to your page, I should immediately see that you are a social media manager. I don't have to watch your videos or read through your content for me to realize that you are a social media manager. The second thing is, how can you help your clients, right? So what exactly do you do? Like, I've seen what you do. Who do you help? You help I help startups grow their brand, or I help business owners grow online, something like that, right? And then how do you help them? You can see, I help them through social media management, I help them through this, I help them to that. Like, those things are things, and this is something you would usually write in your bio. So whether it's your LinkedIn bio, your Instagram bio, TikTok, Twitter, think of any social media platform, this 3 second rule should be in your bio. All you just have to do is copy it and ask ChatGPT to write an Instagram bio for you using the 3 second rule, right? And then the last thing you can see, what should they do next? Now, a lot of people always forget to put a call to action in their bio. So you're telling me, oh, I'm a social media manager, I can help you grow your brand. Okay, so what should I do next? Should I book a call? Should I send you a DM? Do you understand? So we have the first thing, who do you help? So I help real estate agents, which is another thing. As a social media manager, you have to you can't help everybody. You can't manage all social media platforms. Do you understand? So you have to have your own targets. You have to have your own target. I remembered I tried to manage a page for a football page, actually more like it's a sports page, but a football page, and I needed to create content, and I just couldn't do that. Like, literally after a week, I had to tell the person that, you know what, I cannot do this is like way beyond my jurisdiction, this is not something I'm familiar with, and also I'm not really a sports person, right? So although when the person initially reached out to me, I already told them I was not a sports person, but I would just give it a try. So you have to have your own target audience. You have to niche down, even as a social media manager. So who exactly do you help? You help business owners. I help real estate agents. I help you are like focusing in the beauty industry. How do you help them? Or I help them by posting, by creating content for them. I help them by doing this, help them by doing that. And what should they do next? That's the call to action. Send me a DM to get started, or click the link in my bio to get started, or click the link below to get started, something like that. So there should always be a call to action. Now you can see below I have the common red flags that you need to fix today, both on your Instagram page. So you can decide to focus on Instagram, you can decide to focus on LinkedIn. Either way, these red flags apply to or any social media platform that you decided to manage. So the first is the ghost town feed. You can see an interactive feed suggests your business is closed or unsuccessful. So you have to be very active, which I mentioned earlier. You have to be engaging with people. Not only expect people to engage with you, but you also have to engage with people, like comments on their videos and do things like that, right? So very, very important. The second thing is the selfish bio. So your bio should focus on your customers, not yourself. When you're writing your Instagram bio, don't say, oh, I made this, I made that, and nobody cares who you are. What people care about is how can you help them. That's what prospective clients want. They want to know how you can help them. They don't care about what your hobbies are. They don't care about the fact that you learn social media management or this or that, or you are good at your job. How can you help them? That is what your social media bio should contain, which is of course the 3 seconds rule, if you can see here. And the last thing is social proof, right? So who are the people you've helped? Who are the companies? Which companies have you worked with? Something like that. And I think I've already explained this before, that if you are just starting out, you might not have a social proof. So what do you do instead? You reach out to your friends, family members, neighbors, basically anyone that you know has a business, and tell them, okay, I'm going to manage your page for the next 2 months, 3 months. You have to put a time limit to it, right? So you say, for the next 2 or 3 months, can I help you manage your page? You post content for them and do that. So that is now what you use as your social proof. You can't just sit there and be miraculously waiting for a client to reach you out when you don't have a social proof or anything. No. So you have to create your social proof. You have to create that thing that will attract more clients, that thing that more clients will see and feel like, okay, I think you're experienced based on this thing that I'm saying. Now your social proof can also be your portfolio. For example, on LinkedIn, you can, I think on LinkedIn you can, if your account is verified, you can add a link to your website or something like that on LinkedIn, right? So you can do that. You can also do that on Instagram. So if you've created your portfolio, which you can create on Canva, if you created your portfolio, just put the link in your LinkedIn bio or your Instagram bio, and when clients check your page, they can easily just click on the link and it will take them directly to your portfolio. So that way, they are very, very impressed with your portfolio. So this is the bonus. So if you have any question, don't forget to ask your questions